Lawrence Welk's first book was called Wonderful, Wonderful, which was an autobiography. It was on the bestseller list for many weeks. He has another book called, believe it or not, A One, A Two, which says Life with My Musical Family. Would you welcome a very charming gentleman, Mr. Lawrence Welk.
Thank you very much.
I think these guys are auditioning just in case things fall apart here. They're ready to...
My theme, Bubbles in the Wine.
They got the theme down? How did that start?
One of the things that you have never taught Doc how to do is the opening like this. I'm going to teach it to him before I leave today.
When did you first do the Champagne Bubbles?
Oh, it started at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I don't know that we talked about that on the show. Did somebody come up with it, or...?
No, I had a style, and we had a very small band. I couldn't afford to hire an arranger. I used to buy stocks and tear them up, and work them up with the little band I had. And when we first played Coast to Coast, a great many people wrote us letters and said that our music was different. They said it reminded them of Champagne. And when so many letters came in along that line, we called it the Champagne music of Lawrence Welk. And it stuck.
Boy, has it ever. How many years altogether have you been on television? I remember when you first went on television, I was working out here in the early 50s, and you started from one of the ballrooms, I think, locally.
We started in 51 at KTLA for 4 years. Yeah. And July 2nd, 1955, we went coast to coast. We've been on television ever since.
That's a long run.
This is our 20th year.
20 years. Well, you're right up with Gunsmoke.
Johnny, you and I have a lot in common.
We started locally out here on the television on the West Coast.
In spite of the fact we're so different, I've been sitting back there watching your show, and it's so ad-lib that I'm beginning to think I'm doing wrong by rehearsing all week long.
Just come out and let it go.
I should do what you're doing.
No.
Everything ad-lib.
I couldn't do what you do. You've been too successful at it. But you were with 17 years with ABC, and then... did you leave, or did they say, hey, you're not going to be on the network anymore?
No, we didn't leave. We were requested to leave.
Requested to leave. I've been through that. Everybody has who's had television shows. How did you take it? Was it a personal affront?
It was a very difficult thing. This is one of the reasons I think I wanted to write the book. I wanted to tell the folks a little bit what goes on in back of the scene. And this particular thing was a very difficult situation for me because I have altogether about 200 people. I have 46 people in the orchestra, and it looked like everyone would be out of a job. And it only lasted a few hours when my sponsor, Matty Rosenhaus, with the J.B. Williams, called me and said, Lawrence, we still believe in you, and if you'd like to go some other route, we'd be very happy to sponsor you. Well, that's a pretty good feeling when you have a sponsor and also an orchestra. All we needed is some television station to carry us. Don Featherson, man that you know very well,
friend,
sent out a whole bunch of wires, and by the next morning we had a syndicated show.
And you're seen now, I understand, on more stations than you were when you were actually on the network anyway.
We have a little over 250 stations this year.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Well, how many people would you reach every week with that? Have they made an estimate?
I would say we reach approximately around 30 million people.
Oh, that's just incredible. Who's been the most influential person in your life? We talked about your beginning back in the Midwest and your folks briefly, but I don't think we've talked about who really has exerted the most influence in your career.
Well, I'm not sure if you could put it down to one person, because what we have is a musical family, and we have a great many people, great many musicians and singers and right-handed people that have been with us 15, 20, 25 years and even more. And it's the strength of the musical family, I think, that has kept us going all these years.
Now, when you have that many people working for you, you have to be pretty much of a strong leader. And I think we had the young dance team were on here before.
Right, Sis and Bobby.
You said you got a pretty firm hand on the whole group.
I am known to be a sort of a slave driver, I guess, but really that's not the case, because if that would be the case, my people would have never stayed with me.
Right.
And we have an extremely wonderful association with our people. I am, in reality, their father and they're my children, and it operates very much like that.
What happens if they come in late? Do you say no more of this?
We say
musicians, you know, sometimes are individual.
No more of this.
No more.
But maybe not just that way, because basically we try to make them understand if you start the show at 8 o'clock, you can't really hold it for one person. And we point this out to them in a very reasonable way. And in most cases, we can train most of them.
Now your music has survived a lot of transitions because musical fads kind of come and go. I know when rock came in, they thought it was just going to be a passing thing, and it stayed very popular. But your orchestra has transcended all of that through the years. You haven't really changed your style particularly, have you?
No, we really haven't. However, we updated it every year. For instance, today we play more big band music than we've ever played. We still play a touch of champagne music. And of course, we have a great many vocalists in the orchestra. But I think today, if I may brag a little bit on my musical family, I think today our musicians, our orchestra, I think it works at a higher degree or the higher level of perfection than any time in my lifetime. We taped we taped the show last night, and we paid tribute to Duke Ellington. And I would say that's possibly one of the best shows of my lifetime. I remember at one time when George Case was conducting the orchestra there, I stood on the sidelines, and I had goose pimples all the way from my toes to my head. It was so thrilling to see that, because the band really operates tremendously today.
Have your sponsors ever come to you and say, hey, Lawrence, we want you to try a different musical thing, or we want you to play certain selections? Do you ever get any pressure to do certain things?
Not really. I think this is possibly one of the highlights of our orchestra. We never had any interference with our sponsor. Our sponsor has been very wonderful. They believed in us. They don't tell us do this or that. And that's a security. That's a great help for an orchestra leader or someone that has the show.
Yeah. You've been kidded in your career by some of the so-called musical sophisticates who said, "Well, it's kind of corny and so forth and so on." But
Johnny, you know, no one ever called me corny.
No. No, but you know this.
Look at that Doc laugh.
Yeah, look at him laughing over there. They've only been going at it 27 or 30, 40 years.
I had him on my show, and it's about time we bring him on again. This guy is wonderful.
Did he dance with Sissy, or did he play?
No. He claimed he had a bad foot, but
David Brenner is with us tonight. He's just completed a 3-month tour with Tom Jones, which has got to be kind of a hectic schedule. And after a few days home, he'll be starring a series of college concerts. Would you welcome the rather warped David Brenner?
Thank you. I just finished in Las Vegas, and you know, Vegas is crazy. They bet on anything there. Anything. You know when Evel Knievel did his little trick? Do you know they were betting if he would make it? If he wouldn't make it, when he got out of the capsule, if he would wave with his left hand, he would wave with his right hand. If he's wearing underwear, what color it was. I'll tell you one thing about Evel Knievel. I'm glad he made it. I'm very glad he's okay and everything like that. But let me tell you my opinion, okay? To me, Evel Knievel proved that anything that goes up will come down. And for proving this, he was given $6 million and is called a brave man and a hero. Now let me tell you folks, I am not a brave man and I am not a hero. But for $6 million, I would have jumped off that canyon with a firecracker in my nose. But anyway, it's nice to be in California, friendly California. Have a nice day. They always say that out here. That's the big expression out here. Every store you leave in Los Angeles, when you're leaving, they always say to you, have a nice day. And I don't think they listen. I'm going to have my heart taken out. Oh, have a nice day. That's one thing about New Yorkers. They say New Yorkers are rough, and oh, you're New Yorkers? They are. They're rough. They're tough, but they're not unfriendly. New Yorkers are just honest. If they don't want you to have a nice day, they don't tell you to have a nice day. Do you ever go in a store in New York, you buy some chewing gum, the owner comes out, that's all you want, chewing gum? You bother me for a nickel? What are you, crazy? You ever come back here again, we'll kill you. Just to make sure, we're gonna kill you now. Kill that man. New York is rough. Out here, it's very easy going, nice, it's relaxed, slow, except one place I can't take the slowness, in restaurants. You wait 4 years for your food, 2 more years for the check to come. Do you ever eat in New York City? It's fast. You get your meat, your potatoes, your checks in your potatoes, boom, and you're out. And you know why it takes so long? They make everything very pretty out here. They put fruit on everything. I had a hamburger today with orange slices on it, and grapes in the potatoes, raisins in the carrots. Whenever I eat in Los Angeles, I always think that on the way out of the kitchen, someone dumped garbage on my order. And then they give you parsley. I hate that crap. That is an ugly food. Even when people eat it, you ever notice it hangs when they eat it? And you know what I really hate? When they give you those little round tomatoes that you can't eat because when you cut them, they squirt. And you ever see people try to be real cool? They put them in their mouth hole, bite down, juice shoots out their ears. And let me ask you a question. I don't know what this is because I'm from New York. What is a New York steak? What is that, a piece of meat with soot and dirt all over it? What is that? Right, and written on the side, call Mary, 711. Right, I don't know what that. By the way, the girls of California are very pretty. I want to tell you something. You are. The girls in New York are very pretty, too. They're just dirty. Yeah, you have to wash them. It's true. If you have a blind date in New York City, it's like developing a film. You keep dipping her in water. Oh, hey, you're beautiful. I had a date in the Valley. I went out to the, are you from the Valley? That's a strange place, the Valley. That is one strange place. I always thought, you know, when you hear it, the Valley, I thought rolling green hills, right, a nice stream up the middle with children fishing. Did you ever see the Valley? It looks like the Green Giant hemorrhage there. That's the Valley. Right? If it's 60 degrees in LA, it's 290 in the Valley. The Valley, it's weird. It reminds me, it's like the people who live in the Valley, it reminds me like, no one would say anything there if someone came in and took away their Clorox. Did you ever see that commercial? Where do they find towns like that? Hi, we're going to take your Clorox and your children. Okay, go ahead. It's all right, go ahead. I like to see them try that in Brooklyn, New York. Wouldn't that make a great commercial? Hi, we went into Brooklyn, New York, and we took their Clorox. They took 3 of our trucks, our vice president, and my left leg. Yeah, it's tough there, but it's tough here. Do you know I was arrested in Los Angeles? I was arrested 2 weeks ago. You know what for? You ready? Jaywalking. Can you believe that? Jaywalking? Murderers and rapists walking around free and people get arrested for jaywalking? Our only hope is that the murderers get caught jaywalking. And before or after the crime wouldn't make a difference, right? Look, he's stabbing that guy. Yeah, I think he's going to jaywalk. Wait a minute, Bob. See, he's got his foot up. Look, his foot's up. He's going to... I couldn't believe it. I didn't know it was a crime because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. No cars are coming. The light's red. I'm really going to stand there. In New York, you get in trouble for standing there. Right? The cops say to you, what are you standing there so long? You can really say to the policeman, well, the light's red. I'll give you a red lip. Get across the street. There's no crime in New York. Do you ever cross the street in New York City? You wait between parked cars. Old ladies, old men. Everyone's waiting. Boom! You shoot out, you run past buses. Come, you run. You jump on the curb. The cop runs over. He grabs the holding and shakes your hand. How'd you do that? It was great. And I'll tell you something I learned. You know, the police out here look tough. You see them with those boots on that look like leather leotards and, right? And 2 Magnum guns, a Billy club, and a K9 dog, and a bazooka, everything else. And meanwhile, the cops, you ever see the cops in New York? The belly's hanging over the belt. They have sneakers, a beard, they spit. But let me tell you, out here, they look tough, but they're pussycats. Like, I couldn't believe what happened with the SLA raid. I was back in New York and read about it. I couldn't believe it. Do you know it took 363 law enforcement officers with bazookas and tanks, right, hours to get 4 people out of a wooden house? Why didn't they just wait for a cop to come in from Brooklyn? Boom, boom, get your butts out of that house. Let's move it, all right? Thank you.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Funny stuff.
Thank
He's
you.
so true. Can you see him taking the Clorox away in Brooklyn? Wonderful. You're gonna what?